So I kind of have a bone to pick with Diablo 4 and also with Last Epoch, honestly. I've been kind of struggling with these ARPGs that are kind of coming out as of late because it seems like there's not really much of a story. Like they kind of have a little bit of a background, they kind of have some backstory. But as far as like the storytelling concern, something's like really weird going on, especially since I've been playing, Last Epoch and Diablo 4. So I'm about halfway through the campaign in Diablo 4, and the story just doesn't seem to be there, aside of from doing the investigative work, or like we're some kind of glorified detective trying to figure out what's going on with Lilith and trying to find her and find out what she's doing. There's not really a lot of substance here. I'm really questioning exactly what's going on with the storytelling itself. Now, as far as like how they tell the story, like putting your character with all the equipment they have on into what's going on in the scenes and stuff, I feel like that's like next level. And I think it's even better than Diablo 3 as far as that's concerned, like actually seeing your character in there. And you're actually interacting, like each character like has like a voice actor and they interact with the different characters. I feel like that's like another level of storytelling, and I think it can be really, really good. I just feel like there's just no story here. Like it just doesn't feel like a Diablo game that's going through these different things that are happening. And I think a lot of that is due to not having Deckard Cain. We haven't seen Tyrael yet, or any of the other angels other than whatever his name is. I can't remember off the top of my head. We just saw him that once, and that was pretty much it. So I'm kind of curious where the story arc is going to go here. There seems to be no references of any of the story arcs from Diablo 1, Diablo 2, or even the most quote-unquote recent Diablo edition from Diablo 3. So there's nothing about, the works of Deckard Cain. There's nothing about Leah and her family, despite her being, I think, an orphan or something like that. There's no references to Tristram or Wortham. There's nothing about the past. There's nothing about the future. There's nothing about the heroes of the story. There's nothing about the Nephilim. There's nothing about... I think we have some vague references to the Herodrum, or the Zakarum. And finally, there's nothing to indicate that there's a correlation or a continuation of any of these story arcs. I'm kind of concerned about the storytelling in these games, because I feel like they're very, very lazily written, and I feel like there's a lot of time and focus into making sure that the game plays well, because it does play very, very well. I will have to give credit where credit's due. The Diablo 4 game as a whole plays very smoothly. It plays very well. I think maybe just some of the things kind of seems a little bit off, especially when it comes to tornadoes. As being a wind tornado druid, I feel like the tornadoes still really need to be a bit more skill based rather than it kind of go in its own direction. It's definitely a little bit better than Diablo 2, and I think definitely better than Diablo 3. But having those randomness to it's just kind of wonky. I don't really understand. So where is New Tristram in all of this? Where's Old Tristram? Where in this mess of a story is anything going? Does any of the past existence of the story exist anymore? Like, what is going on? I really don't know. One of the things I've noticed traveling in between the different cities and being out in the world is that mob density while traveling is really not great in this game. That's something I feel like Last Epoch did an absolutely amazing job. I really do feel like the slow travel in Last Epoch felt almost like you didn't even notice it, because you're always from one pack or one mob or one mini boss or whatever to another, and there isn't really a lot of like downtime, which is really, really great. Now, I don't know why the devs or the developers or the engineers, when they were building this game, decided to make it feel like it's bigger than it needs to. But I feel like there needs to be more density in these beginning areas, and I feel like we're really losing a lot of like interest when I'm playing the game. If I have to wait, almost a minute or so sometimes, like just trying to get to the next pack, and it really bugs me. I feel like my character in the story is an unwilling participant of things that are happening from one city to the next. No indication that you are along to save the world or the cities or the people. The dialogue seems almost like, oh, that's right, you're here. Again, nothing about the heroes of the story, the Nephilim, the champions. Like, there's none of that in this story, which is very, very strange. There's no hail to you, champion. Greetings, stranger, greetings, traveler, greetings, hero. There's none of that stuff in this storytelling, which makes it feel really weird and disjointed. And I'm really having a hard time getting into the story and enjoying those aspects of the game because those feel missing. I'm like starting in like a little bit into Act 3, still nothing. So are we the hero of the story here? I feel like we're doing some pretty big deeds and we're taking on some pretty big bosses here. And I'm level 25 now, going on level 30, and where is all of that happening? I don't know. Some weird sounds happening. I don't know where that's coming from. What else? What pains me is that the ability to tell a great story is there now that they have your character embedded in the game, in the cutscenes, yet the outcome of every event feels like it could have just been just as good, if not better than yours. So why am I even here? Why am I even playing this game? Like, this game should be taking me out of my elements of the reality of life and putting me in a fantasy world, and I should be getting lost in the story, getting lost in the characters. Like it feels like the storytelling of Diablo Immortal. Like, they'll bring a character in, you'll be with them for like 5 or 10 minutes, and they kill him off. You'll get to know him a little bit, you kill him off. I think the story with what's his name and his son, where he becomes Lorath or whatever the demon was, it puts the soul stone in his head, or Lilith does, and he becomes a monster, and he's riding this 5-headed Hydra thingy. That was probably the most coolest part so far, and it was just kind of like meh, like really like under mid. It wasn't even mid. It was I don't know. I'm really struggling with it. Like, this is why I quit playing when I first started the game. I really felt like the storytelling wasn't there. Like, I played one character level 5, one character like level 11, and I'm just like, I don't see a story here. This isn't interesting for me. I hope it gets better. I hope it does. I'm not holding my breath at this point. I'm just hoping that the mid to late game events and stuff are going to kind of counteract the storytelling part, because I feel like Diablo 3 has that in spades. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, why are more content creators not talking about this particular subject? Why aren't we talking more about the storytelling of the game and the lore and the background and the story? It seems like it's a much bigger issue, and these other bigger streamers aren't really talking about it. And I'm worried about the games in the future, because I feel like if there's not really a story to attach you to the game, how are you supposed to, really get attached to the end game? Like, I guess, mechanics, awesome. But I feel like there's a lot more there, and I feel like we could do a lot better. I think more people need to talk about it. That's just kind of my thoughts and opinions on it. So thank you guys so much for watching this particular video. I am going to be streaming live here right after I finish recording this. So hopefully see you guys all in this stream. I stream Fridays, Saturday, and Sundays. The time start and stop will vary, so definitely make sure to like, subscribe, turn notifications so you don't miss a content release. I love you guys very much, and from my family to yours, good night.